Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Stories from the Edge. I am the host, Esco. Of course, I'm the silent partner. It's great to be the silent guy in this series. And so we're working on episode 4 of Building the Brand series. This is going to be something that we're going to be doing on and on and on. So series 2 will be after this, and that has a whole nother theme. So thank you to those that have subscribed to the channel. Thank you to those that have listened to Mr. Cheeky himself, Ed Sue, who tells stories. I think as Ed and I visit with customers, we get to visit and try to figure out how to solve customers' problems. And sometimes, you got to sit back and do your research, figure out what they want or what they would be interested in listening in. But then also, as you're visiting with the customers, we want to make sure that we're being relevant in our conversations with that. So Ed, I know you got another story for us today. In fact, this is going to be a new one for me. I haven't heard this one, so I'm excited to hear what this one is. So what are we going to be talking about today, Ed?
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Esco. Being in a room with a client, right? There's some very interesting dynamics that happen. There's all sorts of baggage that comes in. There's all sorts of perceptions and the like. So the title of this one is unique. It's called, or entitled rather, Lamar and the Three Cars.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
Okay. So
no idea where that one's going.
so I find that understanding what the client cares about is so critical to developing next steps, opportunities,
Right.
and even credibility.
Yeah.
And being in the room by yourself with no air support and to be able to respond in real time to a pressure situation is absolutely critical. And we've been in those places.
Yeah, we have.
Right?
Yeah, we have.
So I'll share a couple of little vignettes, right?
Okay.
FDIC was one of my biggest and most fun clients. I love them. In one of my earlier episodes, I share my experience about being the new kid on the block,
Yep.
gaining trust of the FDIC, and it ended up managing the account nationwide. Tons of great experiences. Gave me insights on how the FDIC functioned, operated, delivered to the banking system to ensure confidence to the public.
Right.
So there are two distinct groups at the FDIC, or business units. The bank
Okay.
of supervision, where I did most of my relationships. Supervision did all the reviews of the banks to make sure they're viable, their portfolio, their operations, to provide solid services and assurances to people when they put in their deposits and work with the bank. So it's a great team of folks that relied on solutions to collaborate, communicate, and foster resilience of that information between the bank and federal agencies. So I have a strong servant's heart when I work with my account, right? What I mean by that is whatever they needed, I would be there.
Okay.
Get it done for them, no matter what, right? So one time, the FDIC wanted to upgraded their mainframe communications on their OMDAL, and they went from BSC BISYNC to SNA, Systems Network Architecture, for all of their offices. Now, what
That sounds like technical stuff, Ed, but it sounds like a big paycheck. That's what I'm hearing.
It's complex and it's very impactful. So the San Francisco office was the first one to go.
Okay.
And we had to change all their mini computers that I sold to them and connect to emulate these new protocols to enable data, et cetera. Our mini computer was called a VS. It's a big box, about the size of a large freezer box,
Okay.
right? Had all the hardware components, memory boards, storage controller boards, serial boards, connect workstations and printers. I mean, it's really a very interesting big PC.
Okay.
But a key part was the telecommunications, what they call the IOP, or input output processor. Now it gets technical for a reason. It's a big board about 2x3 that goes in a slot inside the mini computer, but it had to be upgraded.
Okay.
It had to be addressed and serviced, right? So it had to be unscrewed, removed, etc. So a good part of the FDIC that needed this upgrade, a sale for me, and the bad part for the FDIC was that it needed to be done quickly by the end of the day.
They always do.
Right? So all FDIC's eyes are on this project and on me. My client was very nervous. The COM board could only be upgraded in the field, which means did not get a new part. It had to be done in the field. The options block on this big 2x3 board is about the size of a piece of dentine chewing gum.
Oh.
Right? Half inch by quarter inch, and had 8 little dip switches on them, right? To flip switches left and right, up and down to go
Yeah.
from 64-bit to 128. Now, why am I sharing that? I was known to be very technical, not only knowing and serving my client, but I was also very technical. I would spend hours reading up on tech reports and manuals. I cared enough to know what not only sell my client, service my client, but I knew how that stuff worked.
Right.
So I called my customer
Uh-huh.
and said, look, I'll try and get it done. I'll call my customer support team, log in the request for the upgrade. And I said, this is urgent, high visibility. I need a 2-hour response time. Support center said, yeah, okay. We'll give you the best 4 hours. I go, oh, geez. My emergency is not their emergency.
No,
That's
of course not. You're
right.
you're just a cog. You're
Yeah.
just a cog.
So I updated my client and they said, Ed, we need it faster. Any way to do it? For those who work with customer engineers and support, it's not easy nor simple. One
No.
person's emergency is not theirs if it's not planned properly. So it's 12 noon. I tell my
Okay.
client, I said, you know what? I know you're disappointed. Let me see what I can do. I'm going to walk and go into the computer room at noon. Lunchtime in the government, everybody's out.
Yeah.
So I shut down the mini computer, pulled the cover off, and started to look for the COM board. I found it, pulled it out, and looked at the dip switches. I found a paper clip, bent it out, and pushed the settings on the options to go from BiSync to SNA. Just as I finished, a man walked in the room, big old case in his hand, right? He was not an FDIC employee. I was
Right.
wide-eyed, asked, who are you? He goes, I'm Ron Hunt from Wang Customer Service, the mini computer company that we worked for. He smiled. And he said, hey, I got a page that this was urgent. So I skipped my lunch and dashed over here.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
That was
Wow.
really cool.
Yeah.
He goes, you beat me to the punch. And he asked, which part of Wang Customer Support Services are you with? I go,
The sales side.
I'm with Wang as well. And I'm a sales rep to the FDIC. He goes, what? You're a sales rep? I go, yeah. He goes, what are you doing to the VS? I said, well, I'm changing settings on the COM board to go from BiSync to SNA. He goes, you're not authorized to do that. And you're not trained to do that. I said, I know. But it had to be done. I read up on it, so I decided to try it. I found the options and changed the block settings. He goes, you did? He goes, okay, hotshot. What are the settings? I said, 135 off, the rest are down, right? And he goes, pulled out the manual, looked at it, he goes, huh, yeah. He said, he goes, okay, let's put the port back in, let's fire it up, right? The system came back up, everything's working, the VS talk to the mainframe. Ron goes, let's not talk about this to anyone. You get in a
Yeah.
lot of trouble for doing what you did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
lunch is on me,
Oh, cool.
right? So it's funny how things work, right? It
Yeah.
cared enough to take a risk, gave me the opportunity to share the next part of the story. I mentioned there were two divisions at FDIC.
You
The
did.
Bank of Supervision. The other division is called the Bank of Liquidation.
We don't like those guys. Well, I
Yeah,
don't.
this
I
group,
don't.
this group's fast, relentless, and operated 24/7. They
Okay.
closed the banks, right? If you
Yeah.
didn't meet the supervision requirements, they get the alert, they come in overnight and they shut you down and liquidate the assets. A team would go in, take over everything fast as possible. These guys are hot shots.
Right.
They're glory hounds, right? So they had a smaller system from me, and I had the opportunity to work with them on an upgrade with a new proposal. So one night, I'm sitting in the FDIC big conference room. I'm meeting with the liquidation team, going over all the next steps, right? Viewing my proposal. In walks Lamar, head of the Department of Liquidation. Big guy, grizzly
Yeah.
bear of a persona, with a presence that just fills the room with dread. Hard charger and suffers no fools. His team sees him walk in, and you can see everybody's body language change. Eyes go down. The
Right.
room goes quiet, and Lamar walks over to the head of the table on the conference room, and I'm sitting at the other end. Lamar does not sit down. He stands up. He has a manila folder in his hand. He growls, what are you guys talking about? His team lead, Pat, said, Ed is reviewing the proposal for the system for us. Uh-huh. Okay. I have it right here in the folder. He kind of waves it back and forth and said, what the hell is this proposal for two systems about? And he tosses the folder on the table and it slides all the way down to right in front of me. I look at the folder, open it up. I look up at Lamar. I says, huh, it's my proposal based on my discussions with your team. He goes, I know it's your proposal. My question is, why are you proposing two systems?
Right.
I said, Lamar, you're a 24/7 operation and systems have to be always available. My recommendation for the two systems is to deliver the capability to allow zero unplanned downtime.
Right.
Now, my systems can operate at 96% uptime, and I wanted to make sure you're always up and running. So that's why, and Lamar interrupts me, he goes, are you saying your systems break down? I said, of course they do.
Huh.
I said, and that's why I'm recommending two. So I can I can give you one. I can add a service rider on top and give you 98% downtime. But I wanted to cover as many contingencies as possible. And the long pause from him, he goes, uh-huh. Well, I can live with 2% downtime. So give me a proposal for one. I said, Lamar, I can do that. And at the same time, I assume you want to have the ability to choose when you have the downtime. He looked at me and goes, and he growled. He goes, and what are you getting at? I said, Lamar, without getting into the details of the system, let me try this. Let's say you get a call on Friday afternoon from your boss, and he said you need to be at your desk on Monday at 9 a.m. to join a call with him with the head of the Federal Reserve.
Right.
Come hell or high water, you have to be there.
Right.
And he goes, yeah. So the table's like, where the hell is Ed going with this? I said, so let's say you're enjoying your weekend, and on Sunday night, you ask Junior to gas up your company car. And I paused. He goes, you have a point here? I said, I'm getting there. Hang on.
Okay.
I'm getting there. So Monday morning, you get up a little bit late. You hear that there's a traffic jam, and you need to get on the road quickly. You take your single slice of toast and you jam into your 3-car garage. You jump into your company car, turn the key, car doesn't start. Battery's dead. Junior left the lights on. What do you do? He goes, huh, well, I just get in one of my cars and he stopped. He paused. He goes, huh, that's why I need two systems. I said, Lamar, there's always going to be a Junior. And the need to have 3 cars in case two systems, etc., get your team to deliver on their missions and to answer the calls. Lamar goes, got it. Okay, give me the proposal. He signed it and walked out of the room. Right. And a sense of relief from the team members and the tension left the room right when Lamar left. My clients were shaking their heads like, how'd you do that? I
Yeah,
go, I don't
exactly.
know. I just kind of made it up on the fly. And so the moral is know yourself, prepare, study, and apply it to your customers' needs and their business, their goal, how their teams work, what their pains are, and most importantly, be willing to poke the bear.
I don't know how you do it, dude. I don't know how you get away with this. I You're cheeky. You know what? I honestly, I can point to this and say, this is how you poke the bear. This is how you pull out no stops. This is awesome, Ed. Looking forward to the next series. Thanks for giving us these last 4 stories. They have been awesome. Looking forward to what you have to share with us in the next series. And with that, we'll say goodbye for this episode and stay tuned to the next one. Bye,
See you.
everybody.
Bye.